Hi there, welcome back to WION World is One. I'm Kanishka Sarkar and you're watching World Business Watch. Now, as the financial year 2026 comes to a close, it's fair to say that it has been an extremely turbulent fiscal year for the aviation industry. Starting with Operation Sindoor in April 2025 to West Asia conflict in March 2026, the sector was marred with multiple internal and external shocks. Rating agency ICRA had earlier projected that the industry would undergo a loss of about $2.16 billion. But this was before the Iran war. Take a look at this next report for more. It was a shaky takeoff for Indian Airlines in the financial year 2025-26. Skies remained cloudy through the fiscal. Landing too seems turbulent. It started with the Pahalgam terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir in April 2025. Following the attack, airlines like Air India and Indigo waived off cancellation and rescheduling fees. Special flights from Srinagar to several destinations were also added. Operation Sindoor, India's military strike against terror camps in Pakistan, followed in May 2025. At least 32 airports in North India were shut. It was an unplanned closure, leading to widespread flight cancellations and reroutings. Come June 2025, an Air India plane bound for London crashed in Ahmedabad minutes after taking off. All but one of the 242 people on board were killed, while 19 others on the ground were also perished. Air India cancelled 83 flights in the week following the crash. Affected routes including Delhi-Dubai, Delhi-Paris and Ahmedabad-London. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation or DGCA ordered strict inspection of Air India's Boeing 787 and 8 fleets. Operations were severely impacted by both maintenance checks and unavailability of aircraft, leading to passenger inconvenience and delays. Air India began a partial resumption of services from August 1, with plans to fully restore operations by October 1st. In November 2025, stricter flight duty time limitations or FDTL norms kicked in. Announced in January that year, the norms were implemented in phases starting from July 1st. Full implementation led to a shortage of pilots and cabin crew in December 2025. The norms had reduced flying hours and increased rest times. Citing the revised norms, Indigo experienced massive sustained flight disruptions. The airline cancelled thousands of flights between December 3rd and 10th. Daily cancellations peaked above 1,000 at one point. Over 16.2 lakh domestic passengers were affected, 9.8 lakh people faced cancellations, and 6.4 lakh experienced long delays. There was severe chaos at major airports like Bengaluru and Delhi. Come Feb 28, 2026, US and Israel forces struck Iran. Aviation schedules the world over were shaken. Flight operations into and out of the Gulf region have been disrupted since. By March 9th, the war premium hit home as fuel charges were slapped onto every ticket. A spike in global crude prices, closure of busy aviation hubs and sweeping airspace restrictions across West Asia have collectively landed a heavy blow to the airline industry.
One, obviously the airspace closures, which means that around 15 to 20% of the overall Indian international flights fly to the West Asian markets. And the airspace closures there mean that there are no flights flying to that location. Second is, while there are flights flying to other long-haul destinations, but overall the rerouting requirement, because they cannot fly over the West Asian airspace, that also means that there would be additional fuel burn.
Another factor is depreciating of the Indian rupee against the dollar. That has had a major impact on the airline industry, because roughly 35 to 50% of the cost of airlines are denominated in dollars.
Because of the increase in the crude oil prices, there is a likely would that the ATF prices from April onwards will see a sharp increase. So for FY26 per se, I think the impact would largely stem from the reduced international passenger traffic, then the estimates that we have, and the overall depreciation of the INR against the USD. We have yet not revised our net loss forecast for the current year, but definitely there is a downward bias to the 18,000 crore loss estimates that we've given.
The triple threat of the June tragedy, the December operational chaos, and now the near $100 per barrel oil reality has been devastating for India's aviation sector. With the Strait of Hormuz blocked, ATF prices didn't just rise, they doubled. Air India's London flights were forced into 12-hour detours, while Indigo's leased Norse aircraft were barred from Gulf airspace entirely. As FY26 ends, the fasten seatbelt sign for India's aviation sector still remains on. Airlines are not just chasing market share or growth, they are fighting for stability in the skies after a very turbulent year. Indigo's stock is down about 15% since the start of the war on February 28th. Air India is staring at massive losses and volatile fuel costs. They are pushing up air ticket prices. With all of this in the backdrop, the road ahead for India's aviation sector in FY27 remains anything but certain. Kanishka Sarkar for WION. Alright, so that's about the aviation sector. But moving on, prediction market platform